In this daily drop, we're going to be talking about my evolution into finding a real solution for marking up and annotating both still images and video for my live streams and for educational purposes. So let's go. All right, everybody, here we are. It's Tuesday. I don't know what's going on outside there. It is windy as all heck in my neck of the woods. But I'm inside, it's warm, and I'm probably on day 3 right now of trying to figure out this jigsaw puzzle of how I can effectively, quickly, and easily mark up and annotate both stills and video. Now, if you haven't seen yesterday's episode where I talk about using Video Pencil, please watch that first because I'll refer to that a little bit, and I don't want to bring all of that stuff back up in today's episode. But I wasn't quite satisfied with the workflow in Video Pencil. It was a little clunky in terms of being able to access new files and to be able to switch between them. It just took too long. So here's what I've come up with. And it really has to do with using a different app, because I will say right now, the one thing I don't want to change is the overall, at least currently, workflow I have of just plugging in the iPad over HDMI and using it as a video input with the A10 Mini Pro. It's just really fast. It allows me to switch between different apps that I want to use on the iPad, and I don't have to get into or worry about mirroring or NDI or running one app on my Mac and another one on the iPad. It's just clean. HDMI out, it becomes a video source that I switch to. And right now, just so you know, in terms of my setup today, I've got a camera on me. I've got B camera here on the overhead with the iPad. You can see that hookup there. And I'm also powering the iPad over USB-C, so I don't have to worry about battery issues. And then the third input here is the actual output of the iPad. And I'm doing a screen record right now into Ecamm Live, so you can kind of see what's being pushed out in a live stream situation. And you can see the desktop here. And I know that this solution isn't a solution that's going to work for everybody that's out there. And in fact, I'm already starting to think out loud, or to myself, or both, how I'm going to do things like set.a.light 3D, because that's a Mac OS app. I think I have an idea that doesn't require the iPad, but I'm going to think it out. If you've ever watched Wandering DP, he uses a Wacom or Wacom tablet, and he draws over stuff that he's doing. But I don't know if that happens in real time or not. I've watched some other videos where people will kind of draw over their videos and their images, and then they'll overlay that in post-production. I want to do this live. Okay, so Video Pencil, great little app, but clunky in terms of moving around between and accessing images and video files, so on and so forth. So when I was going through all of the apps that were on here, downloading new apps, accidentally starting trials that now are going to have charges associated to them, so I'm going to have to contact the developers, all of that nonsense that goes on, I realized that there's a new app that Apple released not that long ago called Freeform. And I wanted to check it out. I've never opened it up, so I clicked on the app and launched it and was presented with this screen here. And I said, you know what, let's just try this out. And I was presented with this board. And of course, Freeform is not designed for specifically this application, but there's actually some interesting things about it. So first of all, let's just get some images into here. So I'll just pick, again, some of those images from Road to Perdition, and I'll add those to the project. I could do these one at a time, but it's nice that I can do multiples. And I've got the grid activated. You can turn it on or off, but it's nice because you can snap images and things like that. And I'm just going to lay these, maybe I'll put this one down here. You know, it doesn't matter. We can kind of get the general idea of what's going on, but you get the gist of what I'm doing here, right? So we've got these images here, and what's nice here is that I can just go ahead and use my hand here to zoom into particular images. Again, I can resize them. I can make them smaller or larger if I want. But as I'm pushing this out over HDMI, you can see that very clearly. Now, let's say I get to this image here and I tap on the screen. The nice thing is that this app fully supports the Apple Pencil. And if I double tap, it will actually switch between the pencil and the eraser. If I access all of my tools here, if I hold down the eraser, I can actually set it up to be basically a pixel erase or an object erase. And I like that because if I do one stroke for something, I can just tap on it and it will erase it. Go over here and access my actual brush and decide what size and opacity I want it to be. And then maybe go over here and choose a color that would be better for marking all of this up. Now, the key here is making sure that this markup thing is checked and unchecked when you're using the Apple Pencil. When it's unchecked, it's very easy to choose something and resize it or move it around and put it where you want it to be. When you click on this, now you're marking up your image, or you just tap on the screen and it'll activate the Apple Pencil. And then I can go ahead and say, you know, let's take a look at that. And we want to go ahead and move over to maybe this area here and say we're going to put some attention on that. And then that double tap and then go like that, and it will get rid of the whole object that I have drawn each one at a time. And then I can go to this next. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, and I just did it. I have to make sure I untap on there if I want to go ahead and move to the next image. So I double tap on that to get my pencil, and then you can see I've got the key coming in from over here. We've got a little bit of edge over here that's coming in from here. So there's some sort of source that's coming from this area. And of course, you can see how this can be used. Now, there's one thing that kind of bugs me about this app right now, and that is when I'm working with video files. When I want to get a video file in here, let's take a look at what that looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and move this over. I'm going to go ahead and pull in a video from that iPhone 15 event and place that. And there it is imported. And I'm just going to go ahead and zoom into that video. And we can start to play it, and that's fine. But if you take a look here, this is just a screen recording, so I don't actually have the ability to pause or play down on the bottom left. It's just a screen recording. So here I am, and I'm playing back the video, and now I want to go ahead and stop, and I want to annotate this. So I can tap on there. Apple Pencil shows up. It goes back to the beginning of the video, I've noticed, which is pretty annoying. And so that's a problem. I need to make sure that the Apple Pencil is ready to go before I start to annotate it. So that's number one. Now let's get back to the place that I need to be. It's a patience game here. I'm going to go ahead and wait for the video to start. And here we go. Here we go. And again, it's gone back to the beginning of the video. So it's frustrating from a control standpoint. If I double tap on the video, it will open up and I can go to very specific frames within the video. And then I could say, oh, you know, let's go ahead and talk about those two SkyPanel 360s, and I want to annotate it, and I tap on here, and guess what? Apple Pencil doesn't come up in this view. So now I go back over to here and I try to figure out how I can mark up the video. And it's just a frustration point. It's not easy. I have gotten it to the place where I can pause it and I can mark it up a little bit, but to basically scrub the video or to rewind or fast forward and then pause is virtually impossible and is very frustrating. So I think from a stills image standpoint that using Freeform is going to be fantastic. It's going to be very easy to just bring images in and be able to mark them up. But from a video standpoint, it's not. And I think that's where Video Pencil is going to come into play, where you have a video ready to go. Let's just go ahead and clear that drawing. Unfortunately, at least to my knowledge, Video Pencil does not support Apple Pencil in the traditional way. It doesn't bring up that universal Apple UI where you can change things. So you really have to load a video up, and then now I can play that video back. I can scrub the video here. I can pause on a certain part. I have a lot more control. I wish it was a little nicer in terms of the UI as I'm getting through stuff, but you get the basic idea. And then once I get to a clip that I want to talk about, let's just go ahead and play this down a little bit to something. Oh, there you go. Let's just say we want to talk a little bit about this space here. Now I can go in and I can start to, make notes about what's going on here and, sort of the lighting on the outside. And then I could clear that and we could start to play down the timeline again. And we want to get to another, BTS shot of what they're doing production wise. And I feel that this is more intuitive than the way I was working inside of Freeform. At least I feel like I have some control over how the video is playing out and what's happening there, so that when I want to pause and I want to talk about lighting and what's going on in a particular area, it's a lot easier for me to do that with Video Pencil. So ultimately what that means is the workflow is still not that different from yesterday. I've just found another app that's a lot easier to work with, especially when I'm working with one or multiple still images. I really want it to work with video as well, because for me at least, Freeform could be that universal solution if I could scrub the video and then still mark it up. Right now it's not. I'll keep digging some more and see if I can find a universal solution for this. But this is where I've settled for now. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.